because you never know how much people out there can struggle and rely on being welcomed into an energy like this. Guys, give me the cue, please. Oh, you're on? Too late. I was just getting dressed. Welcome, folks online. The song we played to this morning and danced to and enjoyed, Peace Train, which says a lot, just inviting everybody in the world to join. Love Train. Yeah, Love Train. Centering in for our opening prayer. Let the music of the Love Train invite everybody in. People all over the world. We set the intention, all souls throughout all time, welcomed into this moment. Heavenly Father, Mother God, in this moment, as humbly as possible, we set aside all things of our lives, our minds, issues, worries, concerns, and opinions. We place them on the altar for you to disperse them. Nothing matters but our walk with you, our relationship, our consciousness with you. So we set aside all else and we ask that your light fill our minds as perfectly, thoroughly, and beautifully as possible. Teach us what we are here to learn. Help us to heal what we need to heal. Help us to be the presence of that learning, that teaching, that healing. Help us to be that presence to all of our brothers, sisters in the world, throughout all time, throughout all dimensions, all lands, all places. We're all in this together. We've made mistakes and have fallen together. Now we're waking up and returning home together. And all the heavens are already in advance, singing, dancing, sharing an energy of gratitude that the children of God are coming home now. And so it is.
Please take a moment to breathe in and integrate the sacred reading by Paramahansa Yogananda. Always think of your mind as a garden and keep it beautiful and fragrant with divine thoughts. Let it not become a mud pond, rank with malodorous, hateful moods. If you cultivate the heavenly scented blossoms of peace and love, the bee of Christ consciousness will come to visit your garden. As the bee seeks out only those flowers that are sweet with honey, God comes only when your life is sweet with honeyed thoughts. And so it is. Please join us in reading the mission statement that can be found on the white pieces of paper in the seat backs in front of you. And together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And so it is.
Wonderful. Thank you. So if you would share what you're most wanting to learn or hear about today, please let me know.
Reverence.
What was the other one?
Worthiness.
Thank you.
Letting go.
Okay, hold on.
Channeling.
I said, hold on, man. But you were channeling when you did that. Yes.
Getting along with people you find difficult.
Mm. Yes?
Away from the AI slavery agenda back to God, for ourselves.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay. You know, on the spiritual path, there are different, what seems to be like different approaches to our awakening. Some people, it's kind of more Far Eastern devotionalism, meditation, certain techniques and so on. Some people are more into Western mysticism. There's people that are also motivational oriented. All these things have a place. What's kind of interesting is that the things that we swear to others, to friends and family members, no, this is the one. This is the real deal. What most people don't know is that's only because it's familiar to you because you've done it before. You know, people that think that devotionalism that involves celibacy and chastity and poverty and all these things, you already did that. You were already a nun, and you're still going without. But why? You've already been a nun. Now, it might be an organic calling for you to do that again, to be the mystic you once were, to be the monk you once were. It's all cool, as long as you're conscious that that's what's happening. Human beings get compelled, almost pulled and forced to do things that they don't even know where it's coming from. That's not conscious. That means you're unconscious. Well, I'm going to join a convent, which is beautiful, but why? I'm getting married. Why? I remember somebody asked me, a neighbor, when I got married many years ago, why are you getting married? I go, I don't know. You know, I mean, I was all of 18 or 20 or whatever, and I said, it just seems like that's what you're supposed to do, the next step. What was I thinking? Like, you're not supposed to just do something. You know, I'm going to have this food. Why? I don't know, because people told me I should eat. I should eat a certain way. What are you about? And then which you are we talking about? Because even that can get messed up, because me that's programmed is still not the real me. So the real me needs to be ignited by God, by the Holy Spirit, by the Divine Mother, like birth in me, my new self. Because running on my old patterns is still running on my old patterns, which is a step better than running on everybody else's patterns. But who's the me that we're talking about? So people get themselves into these new treks of thinking and so on. And so one of those tracks, one of those lines is creating a new life, creating a better life, kind of motivational. A counselor will help you heal the old life and to some degree help you create a new life. Motivational teachers, coaches and so forth, their job is a little less healing the past and a little more forward movement. Both of those have a value. Beautiful, either one, at the right time particularly. But people don't realize that creating a new life, it's kind of like it can be ambition-oriented. So we're trying to, we're settling for less than great, because if I think that I'm the one who knows what my life should look like, I know. Who's the I that's talking? And you think AI is artificial intelligence. You're artificial. Any human being that thinks that they have a free-thinking brain, it's already confused you. It's already artificially making you think that you're something and you're nothing. The person you think you are, you're nothing. Even Jesus is saying, of myself, I'm nothing. If he can say it, why don't we all? Because it means of my little self, ego self, which isn't who I really am. So it's okay to say, that self, let me bow its forehead to the earth and say, no more. And then when I rise, let me now be born into a new self. That's the idea. So I go from my false self to a more in touch with myself on a soul level to my divine self. 3 stages, as most things are. So people are out there and they're pushing this angle and that angle, and it's like manifest the best instead of settling for less. How do we manifest? Make it happen. No. What I mean by manifest isn't manifest as in man's infestations, which is when we try to make things happen in our lives. There's ways we can do things. We can try to force them, which always ends up meaning I'm settling for less than the best. And most folks do not understand this. They're told, you go for it. You get a vision of what you want, you make it happen. that's still ego driven. It's a step that looks better than the ones who are the victims all the time, which don't create a better life. Instead, everything's always going badly. Thank God I found a new way. Your religion, your spiritual devotion is towards making things happen, which looks better than things happening at me. Now, at least I'm making them happen at me. It's sort of better as long as you can take the next step, which is, of myself, I'm nothing. I want to co-create with God. And I've had people sit in prayer and they say, Michael, would you lead our prayer? And they get together and they're manifestors, they're positive thinkers. So they're sitting there going, yes, and I know the goodness in me is manifesting a new car and I can see it and feel those leather seats and I'm manifesting and the color and I'm seeing my friends, I'm visualizing my friends as I drive by my neighbors, see my new car. They're getting really into the 3D details, really, really pumping up their brain to manifest, and they're all doing that. And they asked me to lead a prayer, and I did this thing where it was like, if it be your will and so on. And one of them said to me later, one of the leaders, it was kind of a bummer. You kind of took everything down. And I was like, no. But my God, like, really? Inviting God in was a bummer. You're a buzzkill. You brought in that old school God thing because it's a religion these days made into you being the God. I know that we're part of God, but the one that wants to manipulate and make my life happen means I'm unhappy and I'm going to make things change. And as long as they change a bit, I'm happier, I'm better. So it's true, I guess I am God, the powerful. No, you have an ego in you that also knows how to manifest things and make things go your way. The other means I don't know, which is, I know how challenging this is. If people there's 2 conferences or workshops going on at a hotel, one in each ballroom, and one is the absolute manifest this by next week, your life will change, and the other is get used to letting go of all thoughts, dropping in and ask for God's will. Which one's going to be full? I can tell you, it's easy. People are going to that one because they get stuff. They're even handed little gift packages when they arrive. And when you go to the other one, they go, do I get a gift package? Why? Well, don't I deserve? Who's talking right now? And it'll just give you an aneurysm because they make you look at yourself. This one just gives you stuff. Okay, anyway. They're promising you a bipolar life. Get real excited, manifest, but if it doesn't happen, crash. But that's okay because you're going to manifest tomorrow. And then it's very intense. The other one involves you becoming. Not getting, becoming. There's a huge difference. And it involves, like, first of all, to manifest things, you become them. What is it you're looking for? And people all the time in our lives, we do this, but also people in our lives that talk about, I want to find that relationship. I mean, seriously, go interview people on the street. They're going to do the same thing. And they're going to say, excuse me, I'm a reporter on the street here. What would you like for a relationship? Oh, I want someone. And they have a list of things for somebody to match. I want this and this and this, and they have and this, that, and they have a list. It's amazing. What kind of job? I want this and this and this and this and this. And almost all of that is based on not only what you don't have, but who you are not. And you don't realize that's the motivation behind it. You don't have self-worth, so you don't have people treat you well. Therefore, you're having to say, I want somebody who treats me well. That doesn't create it. It could manifest it. And then that person becomes another one of man's infestations. And you'll wonder, how did this go wrong? Because you created it from a place of emptiness, from lack. Creating a better life involves responsibility. Well, I can do that. I'm going to take responsibility. I want a better life. No. Before you can take responsibility to create a better life, you have to take responsibility for the one you've already had that didn't work. Why 5 marriages? Why 10 jobs? Why unhappy? You sit and rate health, finances, relationship, 0 to 10. How are they doing? Well, they're all a 3. Why? Well, it's what I was given in this life. Wow. I agree with the manifestors. Let's do something different. But we have to heal the 3 in me. Why is it a 3? I was never taught different. Fine. So I allowed that in. I accepted it. I chewed it up, digested it, assimilated it. Now a 3 is my consciousness. A 4, a 2, whatever my rating is. I'm allowing this just to be my, my life. And at some point we have the right, and we're encouraged to say, because God itself would say, how are you doing today? I'm doing great. I'm a 3. You think God's going to go, yes. God's going to go, honey, would you like to be anything more? No, I'm a 3. And God's will, the Divine Mother says, and so it is. When a child of God says, I think I could handle a 6. That's double the number, though. That sounds like a lot. Say it to God. If you're asking me, Lord, wow, doubling sounds selfish. It sounds like impossible. Throw all those words out. Don't be afraid of saying it, because that's what your ego feels. But it's not true. But admit that you are tempted to feel that way. I'm tempted to think this is impossible. Say it. Get it all out of your system and say, but I'm willing to go there. What's my future going to look like? Be courageous and say, I have no idea. And then add, but I'm willing to find out. That's nice, man. But I'm willing to find out. I can be sensual. I can be happy. I can have money. I can have things of this world. Just don't think they are you. Don't think manifesting that perfect partner is not only important, a solution. It isn't a solution. It's not even important, but more so, it's not even real. The person you're going to manifest to make you feel like you finally arrived, they're a hologram. Science is getting to the point of saying they're holograms. I've got the nicest hologram I've ever had. This is my twin hologram. This is my holographic soulmate. They're still just a light show. Like, wow. They're just light. And they're a mirror of me. If I'm off, the holograms, or 3D people, if you want to believe they're there, they're just reflecting me. So if I'm messed up, that's all I'm going to get back. If I have low self-worth, they can't enter my life and not reflect that to me. I remember a gal who was very close to me, and she was an assistant of mine. And I remember she said, I had this dream last night, and she had never had anything like this. And she said, and I'm paraphrasing because this is going back 30 years, but she said, and Jesus came to me, and he said he wanted me to pass a message to you. And I said, good, I'm always open, So great. And Jesus said something about the work that I'm doing, that Michael's doing, and he's doing a great job and whatever. And she said, well, I was told that, that you're doing, and I said to Jesus, all right, I'm going to tell him he's doing great work. Now, what Jesus replied with was, no, tell him he is his work. And I've never forgotten that. And it wasn't just a message to me. The life you have reflects who you believe you are. Please don't make that depress you. But everything is a reflection of you. If I say to a group of people, do you believe in Native American traditions? Oh, yes, totally. Do you believe in animal medicine? Yes. Do you believe that typically many tribes, when they had children, if it was a male, they would look to the skies and see what was happening and name it from that, from the heavens, the masculine energy of the heavens. If it was a female, they would look to the earth for a sign and name it based on something happening on the earth. Well, why? Why did that happen? What is it that was happening? Look out, something reflected to them. Whatever's happening, they took it seriously. They understood that when you see something out here, I just had a child and I look in my yard and there's a fence, it's broken. I'm going to name my child Broken Fence, perhaps. But it means something. Maybe it's going to be a messenger of how to heal broken fences in this world, psychologically, family broken fences or real ones, 3D ones. There'll be a carpenter who fixes broken fences. They grow up and have broken fence and brothers, a construction company. But the point is, it's all reflecting us, everything. That doesn't mean you need to overanalyze the world. But How amazing that when an architect, once upon a time, it's sort of getting to be a lost art. When a musician wrote a song, they were asking, what is the song in the ethers? And just channel the song. Just like I do in these talks. There's an architect who says, well, what house belongs there on that hillside? Not, I want a house, I'm going to get it, construct it, and plant it on the hillside. It's not organic then. It's an invasive thing. You see what I mean by that? And then cookie cutter, and now you're more houses and they're like all matched, and it's fine. But what it means is my mind, I have no originality. So when I'm hired to do a whole track of homes, they're all going to look the same because it reflects me. I want fast, easy, and make money off this. So the houses all look alike. Creativity comes from the heart and soul. Creativity comes from the Divine Mother, ultimately. God is always speaking creativity into our hearts and souls. She's always talking to us saying, hey, look at this and look at that, beauty and love and sound. Can you hear that? The angels are all around you. Nope, I don't have room for anything except that. I got to get some houses built quickly. And then they're all just cookie cut, all the same. And I'm not putting down suburbs and this and that. All I'm saying is, we're lacking God's presence. And when we learn to surrender and ask, God can move through us. The Father and Mother aspects of God can move through us. One of the things they do when they move through us, every time you ask them to do so, they're igniting more of the Christ child of God in us. So they're not just doing something through us. They have major conviction on this. They are absolutely committed to saying, not just we're going to walk through you, live through you. We want you to become as us because you're part of the Trinity. You're the holy child of God in whom God is well pleased. So that means you don't just get an occasional cool thing called a miracle. We lowercase m. Wow, I had a miracle. I met somebody and wow, it's such a nice relationship. You will only meet yourself. You'll only do business with yourself. And it doesn't mean something's wrong with you per se, that some things will go poorly in this world. This world was designed, the ego aspect of this world is designed to always make things go wrong so you can't depend on them. That doesn't mean you should take it personally and say, I thought I was doing so well and now everything is falling apart. I guess I'm a failure still. No, be careful. You're going to have it happen. You're going to have a sibling who swipes more of the money from your parents' will than you get. You're going to have a sibling that was raised as the pretty one more than you. The smart one more than you. You're going to have the sibling that got the trophies and made everybody proud. That's this world. That isn't you. However, why are you in that mess? To break free from it. To say no more. It's not for an individual here and there that's to speak up and say no more. All of us in our own space, not just the leader of a race or a culture or whatever, each of us has to learn to say, no, that doesn't work for me. There are people who have partners that they actually say the words, forbid them to do spiritual studies. What a crack up. What do you mean forbid? Try this out. Say, who asked you? I married you when I was still insane. You're lucky I'm still here. You're lucky I'm still here. Count your blessings, man. Yeah, count your blessings. Do you realize you have a person who has awakened to God? That means in this house, I'm going to be the holder of integrity, of spirit, of creativity. I'm going to be the presence of God. Oh, man, my wife or partner or whatever they are, man, they've lost it. And they start calling the neighbors. They start calling family members who will support them in their attacks. And again, I don't care if they show up with a stack of paper signed by all, a list of hundreds of names of everybody that agrees with them. Just look at it and say, what are these, divorce papers? No, this is a tally I've taken of everybody. They all signed that agree with it. You're out of line being all so spiritual. No, I think these are divorce papers. And the more names I see on these papers, the more opinions I'm hearing, leave him. Learn to think like that, more independently. Maybe be sweeter than I'm exaggerating here, but nothing. Learn to say nothing stands between me and my path with God? Nothing. Not because I'm being obstinate, not because I'm being rude or forceful. It's just the truth. I had somebody that I've known for a few years say to me this week, we were chatting and it had been a while, but they said, I know what I want now and I don't settle anymore. I still occasional mistakes, but I don't settle anymore. And she said, but I know in partnership, I want a guy just like you, except available. She goes, I don't mind if he works even 12 hours a day, but I don't want a guy who's working 24 hours a day. So it was really beautiful. But they saw the integrity and the life towards God first. And now they started doing that. They said, no longer can I date a guy. When I meet a guy, it's going to be God first. And whatever else they say is not acceptable. God first. It's God and your relationship with yourself that needs to be first. And no settling. No, well, I can probably give on that a little because they're really good looking. That is bargaining yourself away, and you will reap the karma of that. No offense meant, no threat meant, no hardship meant. I'm just saying everything outside matches us. If I'm willing to bargain or forego my integrity, my consciousness, if I'm willing to, the universe will say, well, we're going to show you that. If you don't matter, the universe will reflect that. But it isn't as much like just a bad karma that comes to us. What's happening is it's just reflecting us. We call it bad karma because we think it's happening to us. But it's reflecting our behaviors, our consciousness. So that to me was a major compliment. And not at all a criticism, because you're right. This is me 24/7. Not the podium. I'm talking about my consciousness. This is how my consciousness works. Whether I'm doing my laundry and singing songs, the songs are typically going to be connected songs, like spiritual songs. Not every one of them, but generally speaking. But somebody caught on to this all the way, like when I was in my 30s, someone caught on to this and said, I always listen to when you start just walking through a room singing a song. I probably shouldn't give this away, but they said, I always listen because it always has deeper meaning. If you walk through a room singing such and such, it usually means it's going to be happening in the universe soon, in the world soon, or it's happening in your life even. Because Michael doesn't just do something abstract or irrelevant. It's always connected. All of us, parents, counselors, we all need to learn to be plugged in so that you're not doing things arbitrarily. The name of your child is already here. The song you want to write is already here. It's already here. Just listen. Every message, when I'm sharing and speaking, these messages, when I say, what would you like me to talk about? See, because I trust that you already know. You see, I don't look at it as, I'm going to lecture on topics requested by the minions here. I look at it as, this is what we are ready for. And I typically use words like we, rather than you and you and you. I typically, because we're in this together. The awakening, the channeling, everybody's had at least one moment in their life where something just flowed through and you took it to manifestation. But human beings get so fragmented, they don't always see that anymore, and that's sad to me. We have children that aren't channeled all the way. That was an accident, or that's the world of doing and accidents. Plug in. The day will come. The day will come, and it did exist once upon a time. This may sound out there. The day will come when a woman just decides to have a child, and she'll become impregnated by the desire to share love. It won't even be by any guy. They're going to be more obsolete than they already are. No offense, guys. But I'm serious. A human being is capable of materializing anything, including a child, not even just through the womb, but just materializing it. We can create anything. You can part the sea. Buddha says if your mind is strong and focused enough, you could tell a mountain to get up and walk into the sea. It's all true. We can do anything, not because we're cool, we're powerful, because none of it's real anyway. But when you adjust your consciousness, the hologram has to adjust to match your consciousness. But we don't get away with it, one reason being because we're all in this mass hypnosis. that we're limited beings. And if I'm stuck in the hypnosis, the trance of believing I have no power to change things or manifest or materialize things, because it's impossible, nobody believes it, I'm going to not be able to do that. If I want to enter a new life, I have to break the spell I'm in and the spell we are in. And that's a little challenging. I mean, if we're all stuck in this trance, how am I supposed to, how do I get you folks to, I have to access the Christ in you. Two or more gathered with one intention, one consciousness, and we can create a greater change. That doesn't mean if I'm sitting on my own thinking a new thought that I can't manifest something. Well, where's the two? God and me. That's still two. But it helps on the human plane when I can get anyone else to believe. The woman who wrote, channeled, received, scribed A Course in Miracles. This was a woman, it didn't fit at all. She wasn't like, I can't wait, I think I'm going to channel a book soon. This is an agnostic woman. She was partly Jewish, and she was hearing the voice of Jesus. That's kind of trippy. To be a psychiatrist who's hearing voices, to be Jewish and the voice is Jesus, nothing was going well for this woman. And she thought, she went to a colleague and said, I'm gonna confess something. I think I'm crazy. I'm hearing the voice of Jesus, and it's just telling me it wants me to write a book. And rather than, and she said, and I'm coming to you to confirm and sign me in to a hospital, which you and I have had in our doubts, like the compulsion, the thought of getting a divorce or changing jobs. We're in the same angst moment she was in. Something is coming to me, but I don't totally believe it, and I'm scared. I'm not saying all of our compulsions are to be followed, all of our inspirations are to be followed, listened to and evaluated, yes. All of them followed compulsively, no. But she heard that voice, and she went to this colleague. Thank God, the colleague said, what notes you've made so far are profound, and I think you should write it. Oh my God, I thought you were going to get me hospitalized. You're not supporting me at all. I'm crazy. I'm hearing voices. All the things we're taught clinically, they're happening, and you got to get me hospitalized. He said, no, I'll tell you what. And this is brilliant bridging on his part. Brilliant bridging, meaning finding a solution, win-win. He said, I'll tell you what. I'll commit to that. I'll get you committed. How about 30 days? I'm paraphrasing. How about 30 days from now? But between now and then, you write the notes, and we test and see how they feel. And they did. You know what he was doing there? He was showing her, give it some time, and it might prove itself. And she still had enough doubt to where she went to visit Edgar Casey's foundation and met with his son. And she said, okay, well, I'm receiving this thing and material. And he read it. And you know what Edgar Casey's son said? He looked at it and he said, this is real. Not only that, he said, this is equal to or better the highest channeling my father ever did. Whoa. Crazy? I need committed versus... Now, why did she go to Casey? She didn't believe in him or anything. But an interesting caveat there. Her friend was the one who believed in more esoteric kinds of things. So that was cool. Bringing in someone else that could introduce hope, expansion of consciousness, you see, that was nice. But it also happened that when the son said, this is powerful stuff, she had looked at a little bit of Casey's biography, let's say. And she said, whatever this guy's into, I don't believe in any of this. Reincarnation, astrology, I'm a counselor, I'm a therapist, I'm clinical, I'm analytical, I'm intellectual. She said, but Casey's humility of being of service, generous, kind, that is what convinced her to listen. Which means this guy who had a fifth or sixth grade education, Edgar Cayce, who was channeling information more clearly than anyone. He was what they call a clairvoyant, which means to clearly, see things. But he's also known as a seer, S-E-E-R, which looks like a typo. It's not see, it's seer, a person who sees clearly. Which is, by the way, in the Bible, when you hear the word prophet, the original translated word meant a seer. So all the prophets that are much better than clairvoyants and psychics, they're psychics. So when certain people raise their back up and fight and say, we believe in prophets of God, but none of the seer stuff, they're the same. They were called seers. In any case, Casey, his humble life made a difference to where A Course in Miracles was printed and has changed many lives. Many millions of lives changed from that material. And because she saw humility in Casey. Partly what I'm saying is it's not about all our grandiosity and our lectures and what we do out here and the big statements we make. How beautiful that somebody's humility makes a difference. Somebody's simplicity. Blessed are the meek. And we put negative connotation to that. Blessed are the poor in spirit. We put negative connotation. It's just talking about humble. Blessed are those who don't have to tell everybody who they are and how wonderful they are. Hi, my name is Michael Mirdad. I have a doctorate in this and a thesis in that, and blah, 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 and people are going, wow, that's impressive. The more, no offense, initials and, letters you have after your name, first of all, I'm already overwhelmed. I can't even hear anything you're saying now because I'm still trying to decipher. What did PHFD mean? What does an LSDR mean? Like, I'm still trying to figure out what you just told me because of all these impressive letters afterwards. And, I get it. I get it. But it's an interesting thing because Buddha had no such thing. He didn't. Mother Mary didn't have anything. She received the Christ child. You're going to be the channel of the Christ child. Well, does that mean I have an LSDT? Or I'm sorry, you don't qualify. There are people in this world that will look at you, and if you don't have those letters, they'll say words like, you don't qualify. And you need to be able to realize, I don't care. If I don't qualify, this isn't the place for me. It's never been about the externals. So in closing, going towards a closing, all these things we're trying to achieve, and by all means, if you're guided and you feel like, I'm weeks away from getting a degree, Michael, now I heard this talk, so I'm going to let it go. No, finish it. Finish those things that you feel guided to finish. It's fine. But at the same time, feel a sense of freedom. I need nothing. Now, assemble your new life. Assemble it. Know what jobs you're not interested in. People will say, well, I've learned, from some of the hardships of my life, it made me who I am. Stop affirming that. Don't tell me that you needed hardship to make you who you are. I'd rather you not have needed the hardship to become who you are. So be careful. But assembling means I now know what I'm not interested in. I don't want that guy. I don't want what you got from it. What did you learn? Instead of that guy's rude, it's more self-worth. See, that's a good, healthy thing to integrate. So what happens is I know what I'm interested in, what the beauty, I love that and love, I'm not interested in that and that. So what happens is, what kind of person do you like to date? All I know is who I am. What am I about? And that will organically draw people similar to you. If you have unhealed wounds, things you want to sweep under the rug, things you want to ignore, things you don't want to think about, they're actually still in the matrix and going out there to the world telling people, I need somebody to match this blueprint, and they will come. Sometimes in droves, one after another. Sometimes the names are the same. I've met people that said, Michael, I have all kinds of weird patterns, but one of them is everybody I date, they have the same first name. And I'm like, wow, that's not an accident. That is the universe going, come here, beloved. 2x4, boom, boom, boom. Like, sweetheart, we have a message for you. Boom, boom, Like, how are you not getting this? It's funny, take a break. Oh, but I can't. Then don't. Go to him again. Whatever, his name is. I don't want to use an example. It's tempting, but I won't. You see? So think about, what are you about? Don't get the car that Consumer Reports tells you to. Don't get the one that the latest thing online. What are you about? You cannot have a car that isn't reflecting you. And when you find that you're insecure and you're sort of coming from a place of, I wish I had had more funds in my lifetime. I wish I would have got the last will my brother or sister got. When you come from that, you're going to get a car and it's going to be very impressive. And you'll find you can't afford it because you created it from the needy head thinking part of you without realizing it. Dating someone, I remember in high school, my life wasn't really that easy through school years and all that. And I remember I met somebody, this beautiful gal, beautiful, striking and all that, and she expressed interest in me. And there was a very tangible message in my mind of unworthiness because I knew my household is so screwed up, I can never meet a sweet, functional girl and ever introduce them to this thing. It's like taking, some beautiful princess and throw her in a horror movie. I was very clear my household was not a safe place. Serious. I can't go to proms. That person's going to have to meet them. You see? So that was now ingrained as a program in me. I can't have the best things because of my history, the thing I'm living even then. But there's a point where goodbye to all that and become what you want to be in this world, what you want to see in this world. Become the peace you want to see in the world. Yeah, that's philosophical. It's beautiful. I saw this bumper stick. Become the love you want to see in the world. I know it's a bumper stick. It's sweet. What about you? Become all those things. And the things you cannot change, come to peace with that. You won't be able to literally change every piece of something that happened to you a year ago, 50 years ago, or whenever. But the effects on it, you can change. Change what you can. And what do they mean by accept what you can't? It doesn't mean failure. It means accept has this tone of peace. No tension around. No, I wish, but no, stop. Peace. Peace, be still. And know that I am God. I'm finally showing up. The spiritual I am in me now knows what I'm interested in. I have assembled, rather than I'm looking for somebody who's perfect, wow, where's your own perfection? And if you're looking for 3D perfection, you will not find it. And if you even find it, as Buddha would say, it's going to go away. Then you're going to be upset that the perfection you found isn't lasting forever. Then it's not perfect, is it? Nothing in the 3D world is perfect. It's made into, bred into, and programmed to be a reflection of imperfection. See that, laugh at it, but you as a master, as a god, goddess, you have the right to say, there may be imperfections, but I'm going to learn from this piece and learn what I can. Now that helps me heal because I've ingested it in a healthy way, extrapolated. That's what your body does with nutrients in foods. It assimilates the valuable and releases that which isn't needed, right? Why aren't we as intelligent as our stomachs? Come on, just be the organ, man. Be the stomach. Break it down, and like the digestive system, break it down, assimilate what's of value, and let go of the rest. That's mastery. That's brilliance. Because the ego is going to say, we want you to make bad of everything. Everything that was good, it's no longer here, so it's bad. Everything that was bad is because you deserve that. It just turns everything that way. You have to be the one to say, done, no mas. I get it now. Harsh things, hard lessons, hurtful things, I get, I assimilate. Yes, and I gain even from the negatives because I learned something from it. I'm not affirming I want more of it. I'm saying I learned from it. Now I don't need it anymore. But then the positives, I absorb those as well. And now I'm a changed person. I'm no longer trying to get things to be different. I'm a changed person. I know how to become. This is brilliant. This is beautiful. The best. Create the best. Become the best. Attract the best. Assimilate the best. Then you become the best. In our day-to-day lives, the outside world is just reflecting our soul. If I want to improve my life, first, integrate a closer relationship with God and with yourself. Don't outside it. It's God and self first. That's got to be there for sure. Secondly, assemble the pieces that work. If you come to a center like this, for example, let's say you're on the spiritual path and you'd like to become a spiritual teacher, a minister someday. That's what I did. I was always on tour. This thing that we have here was from me being on tour going, if ever I were to have a center, which it wasn't even in my mind to do such a thing. But if ever I did, here's what I did. Sitting in all these churches and centers and places around the world, I did this. If ever I did, got to have stained glass. This is what I did. If we have music, it's got to be good. I don't care if it's music we play from pop songs. The music has to be great. And I'm sitting there telling my, if ever, do not have one of those choirs. Amazing grace, how sinful we are. I'm like, no, I'm good. No thanks. If I have to do the OJs, Earth, Wind, and Fire, I don't care. We're going to have good music. And I said, if ever. If ever, then I want a board who's intelligent but inspired and spiritual and all that. Got it. So I knew what I wanted. So when they asked me to come here, I was thinking more of a guest. They were sort of saying, come here and maybe for a year or two. That's fine. So I was here for a year or two. Then they said, would you stay? Well, there's a saying you have with ministers. Whenever you're a new minister at a church, there's a rule. Don't ever change anything at least for a year or two because it upsets everybody. Day one, this ugly color that we have, this weird paint, it's like a prison color. We're done with that. We need color. And then we're going to do this, and what are they going to do? Fire me? Great. Free at last, free at last. If I have to choose between a dysfunctional relationship in a totally ugly colored building, I'm not interested. So release me. Please release me, let me go. So I'm like, yeah, I would be happy to go. But I'm like that with everything. If I'm going to be in a dysfunctional partnership, I'm good to go. Bye. If this is the contract you want from me, nothing in this world is that important that you should bargain yourself away. So I said, fire me if you want. But we're going to have color. We're going to have beauty. Earth, Wind, and Fire. They're like, we thought we were, getting some, No. We're going to do this. We're going to create landscape that people can go in the paths and sit, meditate over here and there. How could you not do this? It's brilliant. Ask the landscape what it wants. So I said, we're going to have a landscaping day. And they're going, oh, you poor thing. You don't know how things are here in Sedona. Nobody gets around to doing anything. This is what they told me. People here, they don't really do anything. We've tried to have a landscape party and people just don't show up. So here's what I said. On Saturday, I'm going to be here with a rake and shovel doing the landscape. This is at our old building. All the trails through it. I'm going to be there. If anybody joins me, great. If not, I'll be doing it. But it's going to get done. I had these two 99-year-old women show up. They were my landscaping crew. You know what I did? I took the shovel and the rake and said, I want you to channel and tell me where there should be a path. So they're walking, well, how about here? And I'm raking and shoveling. Okay, keep going. Now it feels like it should go right here. Okay, I became their worker because we should all be willing to do what we would ask others to do. So I'm just going for it, digging, and we made this whole landscape. These two gals who showed up, and they made a difference. And forever people could enjoy that there's a pond here, a landscape, a trail, a path, whatever. This is how it can be. Get your inspirations and let them guide you into a better life. Change what you can, accept what you can't. And it's really interesting to me because soak in those changes, soak in the lessons, but I went through and went, I want this and I want to, how could you have property and not have a path? It's like the child in me saying, oh, we have to swing. We have to have a hammock. It's God, it's beauty. How could you not have a hammock? There are city workers here. Almost every day during the week, probably should be working somewhere, but there are city employees that come here and lay on the hammock and sit at the table and have lunch. They don't attend here. I don't care. Because somehow they found peace that they think is shade of a tree, and it isn't. That's the closest they can come to going, there's something magical here. And lastly, just to show how insane I can be, You know, this coming into a new center and the rules and don't change things and do this and that, everything's stuck. So one time I was coming into a board meeting and somebody a gal approached me and said, Michael, I have to ask you a favor. Can you help? I said, yeah, I'm going into a board meeting. I know. That's why I'm intercepting you before you go in. She said, there are some of us that have a program. It's about feeding children that don't have any food. The families are in poverty. They go to school, but they go without food. So all they do is sit by themselves. This is a tangible thing that was going on. And children are going, and so what we do is we give them a lunch pail, and now we start supplying food in there, snacks or whatever we can. I said, well, that sounds really cool. They said, we've asked the board at this center, can you guys contribute any money, like $50 a month, anything, so that it'll buy protein bars or something for these kids to have in their backpack? I said, well, of course. They go, well, we've been asking for months, like 6 months, 12 months, and we can't get them to approve it. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I go in and I sat down and I waited till my turn and I said, okay, so I need to, somebody asked me and they're like, oh, God, she's just always nagging about this food program. I said, well, it sounds like a really good thing. Why aren't we doing it? They said, well, there's this guy that asked us to do a project with him, to support him in a project. And he's been, thinking about it. How long has he been thinking? About a year. He's been thinking about something he wants our support on for a year. And this is like passive-aggressive behavior. You guys don't see through this? He needs to submit his thing, and we'll say yes or no. Yeah, but he just said, oh, I need some time. It's been a year. So they're like, yeah, but I said, let me just make this clear. Totally clear. It's very simple. Unless one of you figures out where I live, comes to my house, crawls to my window at night, and kills me in my sleep, we're going to help these kids. And you should have seen, they're like he's a madman. I don't care. Why would you support somebody who's unsupportive in getting his project done? And I still showed respect to that guy. I called him and he didn't answer. I left a message. Oh God, it's such a great project you're considering. This is magical. This is so wonderful. We absolutely want to have this happen. Bring your information in this week and we're going to move on it. If we don't hear back from you, then we're going to have to let it go. We never heard from him again. You see what I was doing? Calling him on it. He was never going to get it done. He was never going to follow through. This is somebody that hooked us into their games. Say goodbye to people like that. I know that it could mean he's going to leave and he's going to tell people, well, I had a project and they didn't support me. Fine. That means they want to hear that stuff. They want to hate on us, so they're going to hear gossip from a hater. You don't let your life be held back by things like that. Get an inspiration, focus, and go. You're on this planet for so long. How long do you want to think about the things you might do eventually? Do them or don't do them. No try, no wait, just do them or don't do them. Some things are going to take time, I understand. I'm going to sell my house. If it doesn't sell today, I'll give it away. No, it might take months. There's things that take a certain amount of time. That's fine, but change what you can. Accept what you can't. But don't look around the world trying to get the perfect such and such. I want to just find the perfect book to read. You know what? Find better and better books and enjoy what pieces are in it. You'll be attracted to higher and higher. For me, I can't just read any book. It's got to be a book that resonates with me, and I insist on certain things. I want it to be great. And that's what all of us can do. Every date, every partnership, every book, every food should be something you're in love with, something you really dig. If not, why? Learn from that. And then when you do pull it off and attract great things, it's not the answer. It is a piece of the puzzle. Breathe it in, integrate it, and let it take you higher. It's you that has to go to higher consciousness, not who you date, not what job you have, you in your consciousness. By assimilating the lessons of what you're not interested in and what lessons you learn, and by assimilating the things that reflect you and show you, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. And this is me, but it's us. If I wanted something in this building, in this center, and people didn't like it, I would not have it. Because I still go for the we is important here. The us, the greater good. But naturally, if somebody says, Michael has a center that he speaks at, what's it like? Anybody that knows me, they're going to go, okay, I remember my ex-wife and my child went through Sedona, and they were looking for my house. They knew generally where it was. And my ex is driving, and she's going, I don't know which house it is. My child said, pull over, shut the car off, put the windows down, and shut the car off. Chances are he has some kind of fountain. We're going to hear water somewhere in this neighborhood. That's what she did, and tracked me down. And when they got close, that's it. How do you know? Because there's lights in the trees. Fairy things. You know, that's Michael. Chimes. That was the other one. Water and chimes. That's got to be his place. Isn't that cool? How could it not be? What are you going to find, like some odd dead, dead animals and dirt and yeah, that's got to be his place. No. So this, of course, man, of course you're going to have pre-Raphaelite art. Of course you're going to have Kuan Yin, a symbol of the mother. Of course there's going to be sparkly fairy lights. As soon as they say, what kind of lights do you want on the walls and ceilings? And they go, well, these kind and these kind. And they say the word fairy light. That's the one. Just because it has the word fairy in it. And I'm like, it's got to be good. But do that for yourself. Do that for yourself. Things that reflect your soul, not your broken self. Your soul. And keep going in that direction so that you can say, all the categories of my life are going from a 3 to a 4 to a 5 to a 6. And, yeah. Not because you dated an 8, but you became that thing. Please take a few centering breaths. You asked about worthiness, man. That's all over this talk. Thank you for that. Letting go. Detachment. It's all in there if you're listening. The false AI, the false self, that artificial voice, man, just not worth it. It's no coincidence, accident that AI is practically I am spelled backwards. That's not what I want. I want I am. No false configurations, manipulations, to the contrary. Breathing and centering and breathing in whatever you gained from today. What did you hear that is most helpful to you, impactful to you, and breathe that in. This is not something you heard in a lecture. If you like what you heard and you believe it, make it yours. Like this, oh wow, this, repeat it to yourself. This is my understanding now. Again, assimilate. Assemble your consciousness. Choose on the best instead of settling for less. For a moment, let the Holy Spirit guide you. Are there any things in your life that were of a negative nature, negative experience, that you still have affecting you today? Patterns, programs, religious program, social program, family program, genetic program, whatever it is, just be okay with it and be honest. Anything at all that's having an effect or is controlling your life in any way, let it come to you. Just take a moment for that. And if that's true, what category of your life is it affecting? Your health, finances, relationships, personal life? What category of your life is affected, kind of holding that number down, 0 to 10, down? That if you release this thing right now, magically, snap a finger, it's gone, that number would suddenly go up. And all I'm asking is to be honest with it, see it, and just pause. And if this could help, why haven't I done it already? Why haven't I healed it? You could say, I don't know how, I didn't know it was there. Fine, whatever it is, own it. It's okay inside to go, wow. You might be depressed by it, shocked by it. It's okay. It has no real power. See it? Yes, holding me down. So this thing, I'm committed to changing. But if I'm inhibited, afraid, or whatever, I'm going to give it to God. There is this thing, my Lord, my Father, Mother God, and I see it now and I accept it. I might feel ashamed of it, I might feel silly or whatever, but I'm giving it to you. And I'm asking you to give me the clarity, the guidance, the courage to shift this. Not only to let this thing out, but to bring the new life in, where my life can now go up to a higher level. And lastly, anything in the talk today that you heard that you loved, it's yours. This is your belief because you decided you liked it. Look at it. Imagine just for a moment, what if we snap a finger and that thing is totally in your consciousness now? What category would it affect? And how high up? If you had that thing, how high up would the number go in that category? Knowing this, the shifts, tangible shifts from us making tangible changes in consciousness, in intention, in prayer. We're closing by accepting everyone in the room and online. Everyone, even if this is watched 10 years from now, it's still effective. All of us are also sending prayers to each other, supporting what you're choosing to change. You're not alone in doing it. We're already with God and each other. We are all agreeing. I support all of you. Think in your mind to each other. I support all of you in this change. You are not alone. Let's get it done. And the earth is rising to a glorious new day. My life is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. My finances are the Lord's and the fullness thereof. My health is God's and the fullness thereof. My partnerships, they're all God's, the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. I'm giving all of these things as fully as possible to God to have them washed clear and clean, restored back to me in a completely beautiful new way, so that everything's rising to a beautiful new day. This isn't a tad at a time. We're holy children of God. We can create and experience miraculous shifts at the highest level, highest caliber. Let's not just get by. Let's go for it. My life is yours, God, and the fullness thereof. All that you can bring to me as a man, woman, elder, child, whatever category. Race, culture, and so on. None of these things matter to my soul. Take me to the highest. No limits. Not even the most gruesome, wounded past in this or any other lifetime. All of those become things I sign away and give to the Holy Spirit. Peace at last. I am free to be as God created me to be. And so it is. Slowly reintegrate back into the room. Thank you so much. Please remember, we have our Daughters of Heaven conference coming up in a couple of months. Now's a good time to sign up. The price will go up in about a week, so please register, participate. It's a weekend conference. We're going to do baptisms for those who want to do it. We go down to the river and do baptisms on Thursday. Friday and Saturday is the conference. Sunday, our usual fun here. So folks usually come in for at least a few days. But after that, on Monday, we're going to go out to look at some sacred sites in northern Arizona. This is separate from the conference, but yet part of it for the people here that are visiting. We'll go look at some sacred sites and some beautiful and learn some of the authentic history of some of these places. And then the day after that, we have one of our volunteers that's going to take folks, their official tour guide that want to do like the Grand Canyon and so forth. So that's a bigger excursion on Tuesday after the conference. But sign up for the conference as soon as you can. We have a couple of rooms left in some of the Airbnbs that we have available for the conference. But sign up as soon as you can. It's the most fantastic conference I've ever been part of. And I've been part of all of them that have existed in these last decades. What did you hear or learn that made the most difference for you, that made the greatest impact for you or people in your life that you interact with? What did you hear today that can be applied there? What is it? One more time? Of myself, I'm nothing. Yes. Yes. God through me can do anything, everything. Who else had their hand up over there? Yes, dear. Nice. Yeah, good. That's integrating into your life. There's something in your head that's trying to rebel or the word like cast it away. There's something, that's trying to reject it. That's the word. There's changes coming into your life, but there's something in your head that's still rejecting that change, okay? So try to sit with that somewhere and breathe into that to see what that is if you don't already know. Breathe, what is that? And whatever it is, give it to God. You don't have to figure it out or fix it yourself. Give it to God. All power of the universe will help. But right now, be careful because your body's also there's something trying to reject it. Are you following what I'm saying? Do you know what it is yet? Or do you just know something's there? Yes. Okay. This too shall pass, okay? Yes?
That my stumbling around feeling empty and lost, part of it is basically saying, I don't want to do any of that busy, I don't know, just
Yeah.
like,
The recognition
I'm
that...
not a failure.
Yeah, the recognition that things going a little wonky and sitting with that as though that's okay, it's normal. But no, it's I'm not, there's nothing wrong with me. I can join with God and create a very different life. Yes. Who else? Anyone else? Excellent. We're going to do our closing prayer. Let's do our love offering, please. And our closing prayer. Please be as generous as you can be. The bags are for your love offerings that support us tremendously each week, the purple bags. But we have baskets as well. Those are for people of lesser means we usually contribute to, or special projects that we use the funds for. So be as generous as you can be. We appreciate your support. There's on your paper and posted online the prosperity blessing. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. It'll only take them a minute to pass that out, then we'll do our closing prayer. Real quick, in the bookstore there, in our gift store, there's over 100 new statues. Christian and Mother Mary, Durga, Shiva, all kinds of beautiful statuary. But there's also a table out here. And we had so many in the store, we just chose to take a couple dozen, put them on the table, and they're discounted 10% off. They're already discounted, the prices in the store. We don't double and triple and quadruple prices like stores that need to do that. Plus, you don't even pay taxes, so you can get really great deals. But the statuary is there. The ones on the table there, there's 2 that were damaged and repaired. Those are like 30% off, but they're really nice. They're so nice. One of our staff members even bought one of those already, so they're nice. But the statues are over there. Check them out. There'll be a nice discount. We are looking for one more, because this is kind of cool that we can use more. One more bookstore assistant, whether you work one day or a few days a month or whatever, depending on how much the adaptation that goes on. We're still looking for one more person for the bookstore to help out in the book and gift store if you're interested. The last few things we have this afternoon from 1 to 5, yes, the Sedona Monthly Psychic Fair. Most of the readers are booked up, pretty close to booked up before we even have the event. That's how good they are. The prices are typically about half of what you would pay elsewhere. I'm not kidding. So, and I'm not shooting those people down. I'm saying this is how we are. We love giving, love making things affordable. So our readers, they can change your life, but they're still the top readers in the area. But they come here, and the reason they can do that by not charging as much is we don't charge them as much for the booth or the table and so forth. We make it just minimal for them, and then it's all their income, because I want them to thrive. I want them to prosper doing the work they're doing that's heartfelt and important to them. Plus, it's the work of God. So make it affordable, not a challenge. So that's this afternoon. Remember, get the tickets for the Daughters of Heaven conference. There's a website for that, many interviews from some of the speakers and musicians, and there's a book. If nothing else, grab a copy of the book in the bookstore, Daughters of Heaven. If you're on social media, we appreciate you liking us and subscribing. It's fantastic. We have hundreds of things on YouTube in our playlist. Hundreds. They're free to watch. Check those out. Different topics. Could be on psychology. Could be on healing. It could be on Christ consciousness. Multidimensionality. Just all kinds of topics. They're all there. And keep in mind that we have the healing room out here, where we have inside there crystal healing bed, which is a fantastic frequency healing. It is really a trip that people go in there and they're like, somebody came in the room while I was in session. One of you came in and put your hands on my feet, and nobody goes in. You're locked in there, and you're hanging out there by yourself until it's time to close. Shut the bed off or whatever. And these crystals, and they're aligned over the chakras, and they do light therapy and frequency work. And people will swear they had visions, and they do. It's really multidimensional. So check that out anytime you're visiting, or if you're a local or visiting in here. Be sure to make it some time for that. Please stand for our closing prayer. How are you feeling? Good? Did you gain plenty? Good. Bring this into your life. Don't keep looking for the thing that's going to do something for you. You have to become that by assimilating the lessons out of the challenging things. Great. Assimilate those lessons. And absolutely absorb all the gifts too. I really love the way that person was so affectionate. That's me. I love the way that person's so sweet and kind. I love the way that person's committed to God. Draw those things you like in others into your being and let them become you. If I would have never manifested a spiritual center to help lead, I still would have had all these dreams in me. They still would have been me. In my house, I need stained glass. In my house, in my yard, I need chimes. This is beautiful. I love it. By saying I need it, I'm saying it's an absolute thing for me. It's just so organic. It's the same principle. Without a building, I still would have had it in my home. What if I was homeless? It would have still been in here. This is who I am, not what I do. These are not things that make you different. They reflect your changes higher and higher and higher. And one day you will not be able to tell yourself apart from God itself. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is. I am. We are. And so it is. Peace be with you all. God bless. Thank you.